Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. In this video we're going to be doing a review for the Lord of the Rings trilogy, one of the most iconic movie trilogies of all time. I really didn't feel like doing a separate video for each movie in the trilogy because it's basically just one long movie. Each one picks right back up after the other. The films were actually shot back to back, so it's just very consistent. It's really just a beginning, middle, and end. It really doesn't change in quality. With that being said, just to hop right into it, I want to compliment the trilogy on it. Just has very good visuals, and upon that, when you get to the CGI and green screen that's being used, it's not anything too crazy by today's standards, but for 20 years ago it is pretty impressive. And the most impressive thing is probably Gollum, especially just the close-up shots of him are very detailed. They put effort into it. All the characters in this trilogy are just very likable. You feel like you've been on the journey with them. The casting here was perfect. The storytelling is really well done. All the final battles feel earned. With that being said, though, a lot of people think this is a top 3, maybe even the best trilogy of all time. And I could maybe see top 5, but I don't think it's quite up there for me because the length of these movies doesn't work very well with me. I don't think any of them needed to be 3 hours long, and they all were. I understand that they're based off of books, but the amount of story really is enough that it could be a little bit quicker paced. Of course, them being longer helps with the character development, but I still don't think they have to be quite that long, because I feel like in the Two Towers and the Return of the King, the hobbits aren't really in it as much as they were in the Fellowship of the Ring. They just didn't have as much story, so that just feels a little bit off-putting. I think that the Fellowship of the Ring could have been anywhere from the 2-hour mark to about 2 hours and 20 minutes if it was just a little bit quicker paced. The Two Towers definitely feels like that's the one where they stretched it out the most, and that was pretty unnecessary, so that would really only have to be like an hour and 45 minutes. And then Return of the King could maybe be roughly 2.5 hours. Feel more like director's cuts of films, even though they have director's cuts that are 4 hours long each. Yes, I have complained about them being too long, but still, even then, in the third one, they have a deleted scene of Saruman the White getting killed, which I don't know why that would be something they would get rid of. That they should have left in. The very ending of the third movie that closes out the trilogy just felt way too long. It drags on for about like 12 minutes, and you keep thinking it's going to end. It starts off with Frodo waking up, all of his friends are there. It's pretty happy. It cuts to the next scene of the new king, and everyone's there, his girlfriend's there, it's all good, and that's when I really thought it might end. But the hobbits do travel back to the Shire, but then they're like at the bar for a little bit too long, and that's when you start to feel like the movie's gonna drag on a little bit longer. Sam gets married. I really thought that was going to be the last scene. Then it cuts to Frodo writing the book, and I thought, well, you know, that's an interesting way to end the whole trilogy. There's another scene, though. Gandalf is getting on the ship. His Frodo's uncle is there. Really thought it was going to end with Gandalf basically saying that it didn't really matter if they cried because not all tears are evil, and that's not the exact quote, but it was really good. And then they kept talking, and Frodo went with them, and it just felt like it was too much. Finally, the ship sailed away, and I thought at least they ended it with a beautiful shot. But then there's more of Sam and his family. For a second, I'm like, oh, I can see where this is going. His kids are going to ask him if he can tell them the story of Frodo the Brave, which is what they were talking about at the end of the Two Towers. But no, then it ended. Overall, that's really just my main complaint, that I feel like it's too long. But it's a very good story, very compelling. It has aged tremendously. The execution was just spot on with this trilogy. Overall, I'll just give the whole trilogy a rating on my scale of 0 to 100. I'll give it an 86. And if you haven't seen it, I recommend it. Most people really have. It's just such an iconic trilogy. I think it might be slightly overrated. I don't know if I would call it perfect, but still quality entertainment. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next one.